This morning, crypto markets took a surprising little dip in price action, and even though it wasn't a significant fall, it did cause a lot of fear and concern to many crypto holders, especially those of you out here who are trading. Well, in this video, I'm going to cover 4 big reasons why the crypto markets took a little bit of a tumble and potentially cover, are we about to see another rebound, or is it going to get much worse? Stick around all the way till the end of the video. You don't want to miss a single second. If you enjoy the video, make sure to smash that like and hit subscribe. All right, let's go. Before we get into the details of the video, I do want to remind all of you that today it's the last day that you can purchase Lux Algo for over 40% off when you buy an entire yearly package. Right now, I encourage you, go sign up for the ultimate with our link down below. Normally it's over $100 a month, but today's the last day. You get it for $36 a month when you sign up for a whole year. If you have been watching the Broz channel for quite some time, you know that every single day we break down the charts using Lux Algo. Why? Because it is the greatest trading indicator out there. Go act right now, save some money, use the link down below and get that 40% off today. Now, going straight into the charts, before we cover the 4 big reasons that crypto prices are falling, you're going to see on the lower price action, these 3 candles, in fact, it's actually counted out to more like 5 candles, really scared people this morning. After having a little bit of a rally to start the day off, we rejected on a level of resistance, and Bitcoin, along with all the rest of the altcoins, began to fall this morning. Now, as I'm recording this video, we're seeing a little bit of a rebound, but who knows, by the time you're actually watching it, are we further to the downside? Are we further up? All of this is something I want to talk about here in just a couple of minutes. But what you need to know is that right now, no matter what time frame you're looking at, we're seeing a steep correction that's causing people to be concerned. Is the bottom in from back here at the end of May when we hit 103,000, or are we about to go a whole lot lower? Let me tell you about the 4 big reasons today that prices are falling. Reason number 1 is that the initial jobless claims came out today at 247,000 when the expectation was only 235,000. This is causing a little bit of concern about where the economy is going, because as yesterday we got some not so great employment numbers, today we're seeing an increase in unemployment, showing us that the economy that had been looking pretty strong might be starting to get some cracks in it. What this is causing is a little bit of FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and a slight sell-off in both the crypto and traditional markets. Now, I want you to know, long-term, this actually could end up becoming kind of bullish, because if the Fed sees an increase in unemployment, they will be forced a little bit to start cutting rates. But for right now, they're not cutting rates. They're not giving us any rumors of cutting rates, and we'll talk about that here in a couple of minutes. This causes economic concern. What happens when people are scared? They go into something they feel is a little more safe. That's not the crypto markets. That's not the stock market. It, for the moment, is still the US dollar. But let's get into reason number 2. Crypto markets are selling off here this morning. A tweet went out this morning that the Chinese President Xi Jinping held a phone conversation with Donald Trump. Even though this call wasn't supposed to be scheduled until tomorrow, they had a conversation today. And while we don't have necessarily a whole lot of details yet, there's a little bit of a scare in the markets that this premature phone call could be coming out of a place of concern from the President of the United States, Donald Trump. Again, he was supposed to have this phone call tomorrow. What caused him to move it up a whole 24 hours? At the moment, again, no details are coming out. This actually could end up being a very good thing, but we're still wrestling with some confusion and concerns about where the future of tariffs are going. I mean, this entire year in 2025, we have pumped or dumped based off of the sentiment about tariffs. And right now, with an impromptu phone call between the 2 leaders, this is causing some people to be a little concerned that potentially a China and American deal might be crumbling. Now, I already mentioned the Fed earlier today and how technically unemployment levels rising could cause the Fed to want to cut rates. The 3rd big reason why we're falling today is a continuation of frustration that the Fed isn't going to move their feet. They're not going to cut rates. And this was amplified a little bit more as in the recent days, the European Central Bank has cut rates again for the 8th time. This is causing several American investors to be extremely concerned on Jerome Powell's Powell's movements. I mean, historically, when the rest of the world is cutting rates, America is either ahead of the game or not far behind. But in this case, while it seems like every other country continues to cut rates, making things a little bit easier on their civilians, America, Jerome Powell, the Fed, they continue to drag their feet. And at the moment, there is no sign coming that a cut could come before September. This is another big reason people are selling off. But let's move to the fourth and final reason things are selling off. Really simply just taking a look at what's going on those charts. Like I said earlier, we have been in a bear trend since the high back here on May 22nd. And this morning, even though we made a valiant effort to break through this level of resistance, we rejected here once again. If you go down to lower time frames, we even saw sell signals coming from Luxalgo, where you did see the red reversal, bearish momentum, and negative money flow. The concern, though, is will this trend continue or is it over? While lower time frames are giving us some form of a support level with massive volume coming in, suggesting that on the short term, we did see buyers buy up this dip. It's the long-term charts that continue to cause some concern for Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto space. For example, something that we're monitoring right now that it's too soon to call for certain, but is that we are in jeopardy of another weekly bearish divergence. What I mean by that is the RSI and the Luxalgo oscillators, they have put in lower highs here on the RSI, but at the same time, of course, we've put in higher highs on Bitcoin's price action. Now, again, this is too early to call for right now. This is going to probably take another week or two to confirm. But if it does, this is going to cause several people to be concerned about a potential collapse once again back down below 100,000, even possibly back down below 90,000. There's going to be some people selling off, concerned that this could happen. Now, if you're concerned, stick around because I'm going to give you a couple of reasons to be hopeful about the markets. But I want to make sure I'm giving you the accurate information, not telling you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. And what you need to hear is that technically speaking right now, the Bitcoin weekly chart is in jeopardy of printing a weekly divergence, a bearish divergence. The confusion is coming in when we come to channels like the daily chart, where we did have a sell signal here a couple of weeks ago. It was confirmed from Luxalgo. This was a beautiful setup for a short position from 111,000 all the way back down to 103,500. But as we have bounced now on this smart trail and are beginning to work on signs of potentially creating bullish divergence, we have a green reversal, we have bullish momentum, and it looked like the money flow wanted to go positive. You can see with this morning's sell-offs, that buy signal is in jeopardy as money begins to slightly look like it's flowing out. We see this on a continuation on the 12-hour chart, where again, here just a couple of days ago, we had a green reversal, we had the bullish momentum, we had positive money flow, but here we do start to see money flow leak just a little bit. Now, there's nothing guaranteed right here. In fact, the problem with this chart is that it's extremely messy and inconsistent with what it wants to do. There are so many different pieces of evidence saying that we could be rallying right now. There's so many levels to say that we've hit our major 12-hour and daily support levels and it's time to resume. But at the same time, the weekly and daily charts are keeping us a little bit on our toes by keeping the charts messy. We really are in a could go up, could go down type of situation. And before I transition to giving you hope about a go up situation, what are we looking at if we were to fall to the downside? Let me give you a couple levels of interest. In the very short term, meaning the next day or two, there are bright liquidation levels back down towards 103,400 and another bright one even as low as 103,000. On a more macro level out here on the 4-hour chart, again, we're trading within a falling channel that if we end up losing this red line and cannot make a breakthrough, a retouch of the green level could bring us all the way back down towards 101,000, back to support levels that we had back on May 12th. And of course, as I mentioned previously, if the weekly chart really does start to level into some major selling pressure, we have levels up here at 97, levels at 86, and maybe even back down as low as 80,000 still on the table if the bears really start to take over. However, a lot of this video so far has been dealt with a lot of negativity and a lot of concern about what could happen next. Let me give you a handful of reasons to remain absolutely positive and bullish on the crypto markets. Reason number one is continuing to watch the M2 money supply, which again is normally about 70 to 90 days ahead of schedule and has been extremely helpful in predicting the next move for Bitcoin and crypto markets. Well, we continue to monitor the fact that if we continue to follow M2 as we have this entire rally so far, we are looking at the next couple of days being a bottoming position for Bitcoin and new all-time highs coming very soon. In fact, what we're seeing with M2 money supply would suggest that Bitcoin's rally should continue the rest of the summer into August. We'll have to wait a couple more weeks to find out what the fall necessarily looks like. But for now, if you're a believer in M2 money supply, and again, the chart gives you very good reason to believe that we will continue to follow, this makes you extremely bullish, suggesting that this pullback on Bitcoin, maybe that daily support level we talked about earlier, is going to hold up, and we're about to experience another big rally. Another reason why you should be bullish overall has to do with something happening in Washington, D.C. this week, the voting on the big, beautiful bill. Now, even though you could say that might play a role in some people being concerned about the economy, there's a war right now going between conservatives, some people siding with Elon Musk, some people siding with Congress and Donald Trump. But the controversy is about the debt limit being raised another $2.5 trillion. And there's a lot of people siding with Elon Musk that this would be absolutely terrible for the American people. I myself actually completely agree. It's time to stop the stupid, frivolous spending. I don't care who's in power, Republicans, Democrats, moderates. We have too much debt as it stands right now. We need to cut it. However, as a Bitcoin analyst, as a crypto analyst, I have to review what that means. Let's pretend the bill does pass and we do add debt to the American people, causing the US dollar to plummet. Well, why is the US dollar going to plummet? Because to pay off that debt, they're going to have to start printing money. And what happens when we print money? The value of the dollar goes down, the value of Bitcoin goes up. As that money flows into the economy, we have our liquidity, and people can use that hard-earned liquidity to get away from that dangerous dying dollar and go buy risk on assets like, you guessed it, your favorite altcoins. So even though I would be a supporter of not passing the big, beautiful bill as it stands right now, I'm not lost to the fact that if it does pass, it's actually extremely bullish for Bitcoin and crypto holders. And right now, even though it's not necessarily clear, all signs are pointing towards Congress and the Senate pushing it through, getting it done. Money printing is coming. That's extremely bullish. The third and final thing that I want to bring your attention to is some of the altcoins that we talked about earlier this week that are going to have defining details happening here in June. These two coins are actually holding up extremely well and should give the rest of the market confidence that it's not all doom and gloom, that an altcoin season is still on the way. Chart number one is Ethereum, where we continue to track a bull pennant pattern. With everything else pulling back, Ethereum is simply trading sideways within this pennant. And if the bulls continue, if this chart plays out the way that it should, we will watch Ethereum price go back close to 4,000, up around $3,900. Again, if Ethereum starts to take off, altcoins won't be that far behind, because in altcoin season, we always have a transition from Bitcoin dominance into Ethereum dominance, and then altcoins follow shortly after. Another coin that's going to have a monstrous month here in June is Cardano, another coin that's actually holding up very well today. In fact, it's one of the few altcoins that is not in the red on the daily chart. All this negative pressure is not necessarily phasing Cardano. But in fact, Cardano's setting up here inside of a falling wedge pattern, which if it breaks to the upside is going to be very bullish. In the next couple of days or weeks, a positive breakout for Cardano here could send prices back up as high as 80 cents. After that, however, I do believe $1 and higher is on the way. But I'm going to save my Cardano price prediction for another day. In fact, maybe tomorrow we're shooting a summer Cardano price prediction. Let me know in the comments if that is something that you would like. Also, speaking of like, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our content. In a nutshell, though, wrapping up this entire video, there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt out there. There's a lot of FUD that's plaguing the markets. And I'm watching the overall sentiment of retail shift from being extremely bullish. I mean, a lot of coins have been rallying here recently, but people are getting scared once again. This is exactly what the composite man and the institutions want you to feel before the next big rally. Even though there's evidence out there that suggests that maybe the bottom isn't in yet, maybe things are going to keep pulling back. Simply following the logic of not falling for the FUD, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt, following the long-term macro perspective, there's so many more reasons right now to be bullish than there is to be bearish. If you want to learn more about when to buy, how to buy, and where to trade these coins, make sure to check out our VIP trading group right now, where actually, as our way of saying thank you to you, the audience, we are giving you 50% off signing up. Whether you sign up for a month or an entire year, for the next 6 days, you can get 50% off the VIP trading group and start learning how to trade today. With that said, though, that's all I have for you in this video. Leave a comment down below. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Are you buying or are you selling? I'll see you in the next one. Adios.